And this is Justin from Vexes.
Hey, what's going on? Hi, this is Renee with Rock Off Photography. How are you doing today? I got about 10 questions for you, pretty short and sweet. First one, from hearing your press release or, even the song that y'all have out right now, I'm sure we'll just kind of get it out there. People are saying that y'all sound like Deftones, which is kind of like a compliment, but what do you actually think about that?
Um, Same thing you said, kind of. I mean, we view it as a compliment, but at the same time, it's kind of funny, that's the only thing, um, a lot of people can throw out there influence-wise. Doesn't really bother us at all. Obviously, you're going to get people that just, go for the first thing they can think of when they hear a band. We have a lot of influences. Deftones are one of them. We love that band, but there's so much more to our music. And I think when people hear the whole record, they'll be able to pick out what else, what else we're influenced by, or what they think that we resemble. But yeah, it doesn't bother me. I mean, there's so many different bands out now that, in my opinion, sound like other bands. It's to the point where there's genres, that have started based off of other bands' sounds, like bands like Meshuggah or even like Circus Survive. You know, they've spawned genres, where every band you turn on, sounds just like them, or just like the singer, or just like so. Um, I don't think we take it to that extreme. So as far as like it affecting our popularity or anything, I'm not worrying about it too much. People are going to say what they have to say, and if they don't like it, it's all good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and basically, I think a lot of people, what a lot of people are doing is just going off by that one song that's been released so far at Lift, and all the other songs sound different.
Yeah. Well, we have 3 songs out now. Lift was the first one, and then we put out a song called Plasticine, and then the newest one is called Helion. And they're 3 definitely heavy, melodic, aggressive songs. Um, I think just naturally our singer sounds a little bit like Chino. It's really, to me, if you A/B a Deftones record against our stuff, I don't think it. I don't think it sounds like that.
Right.
I definitely hear some influence in Charlie's voice, and maybe in his breath, or the way he enunciates, or something like that. But I think it's one of those things when, if you see a video of him singing live or talking, or you'll realize that it's not just some dude that's jocking Chino or something.
Right.
You'll see like that's just coming out of him naturally that way, and you know, it's not really a concern of ours. And if anything, like I'm hoping that people that like the Deftones or like that type of music are just gonna think, holy crap, I've been waiting for a band like this. I don't care if it slightly resembles it.
Yeah.
You know,
I personally enjoy the album. It's pretty kick ass, man.
Thank you.
The songs that I've heard, yes, you have a whole mix of genres kind of mixed. And with recording process, can you tell us a bit about that? How long did it take? Was there any difficulties, trying to get into the studio or anything that y'all had to overcome recording this album?
Yeah, no difficulties. It was, it's a long process because we did everything ourselves. We have a studio, and Charlie, our singer, who was also one of the 2 guitarists, he's a fantastic engineer and producer. So the band produced the record together, and everything was done in house except for the mastering, which was done by a guy named Mike Kalajian at Rogue Planet in New York. He's done a bunch of good stuff recently. You have to look at his resume to list a couple of things, but yeah, I mean, no difficulty. It definitely took a while between for everything to get laid down. To be honest, it's the album turned out fantastic, but it wasn't necessarily planned to be what it is.
Yeah.
It was just, if anything, it's kind of like a glorified demo that ended up turning into a full length that we're really proud of. And yeah, so no real difficulties though. Everything went pretty smoothly. It definitely is challenging. And definitely a lot of things done over again a million times, but nothing that was overly frustrating or no major hiccups or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of great to be able to be a self-sufficient band that can do all that kind of stuff by yourself. So we're hoping that in the future, if we get the opportunity to work with a producer or engineer, of our choice, that would be amazing. But if we had to, do another record ourselves, we'd be able to do that as well, which is pretty cool.
Oh, of course, yeah. To be able to, independently, put your own stuff out there for the most part. Yeah, that's got to be kind of a blessing in itself.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a first time for me to, not only push a record independently, self-released by the band, but for everything, like the recording and stuff, to be done by the band as well. So it's pretty cool, and we hope to have a successful run with it. And if a label or a producer shows interest, that's fantastic. Maybe something will work out, and if not, we could do the same thing over again, and probably still be pretty happy and hopefully do another successful release.
Yeah. And I was reading from the press kit that which when y'all what you were writing or trying to do something that's a bit different. And how in particular did you go about that? Writing this album to try to separate yourselves from the other bands that are out there.
You know what it was? It was kind of just taking a lot of influences. Because most of us, most of us share a lot of the same musical influences, but I think that we also all have influences that we bring to the table that the other people don't necessarily share. Excuse me. So I don't think that, it was necessarily like, we're going to sound exactly like this. I think it just is a good example of taking four people who come from, heavier music backgrounds, but that also appreciate, music that's melodic and dissonant and dark, and it kind of just putting it into a heavy rock band that is trying to portray all those different influences. It's going to speak to the people who like the heavy music, but it's going to speak to the people who also maybe can't get into a straight up metal band,
Right.
So there we have Charlie, who sings. To me, the music in many spots, they're just all over the place, is very heavy. I mean, we're tuned to A and A sharp, I think, depending on the songs.
Uh-huh.
But, for the most part, Charlie has clean vocals, with the occasional screams here and there. So there's lots of dynamics. The guys have a shit ton of guitar pedals, so you got lots of good, different crazy ambient sounds, different heavy distortions, so I feel like we were just trying to cover a good, broad spectrum of heavy melodic music that has dynamic, is pummeling, is dissonant, is dark. It lets you feel pain, but at the same time, you can hear like how beautiful some of the stuff is, vocally, melodically, just they come up with some really great stuff. John and Charlie have been working together in the past in another band, and those guys are just fantastic when it comes to just finding and hearing different melodies and all that kind of stuff. And it's great to be working with them, because I kind of feel like we're all kind of in the same mindset, when it comes to writing that type of thing. So yeah,
That's good. So when
cool.
Were you given pretty much free reign what you wanted to implement in on your drums on this album?
Yeah. I mean, as far as playing, there's, like I said, just like the previous question, there was really no um, um, restrictions necessarily, but I
Yeah.
think we all kind of had an idea of, you know, some boundaries. Like we were like I'm saying, we weren't trying to be a straight up metal band. So there wasn't going to be pummeling double bass all over the place, or like thrashy drum beats. I think we're all kind of thinking something more along the lines of mid paced. Um, so I would say that that's the only real restrictions I could think of as far as the style of the band. I mean, you're probably not going to see any super up tempo fast drum beats. You might hear some spicier stuff from time to time, but for the most part, I think that this is a mid paced, hard hitting drumming style when it comes to this band.
Yeah. So, now that the album's due out pretty, almost pretty quickly here on the February 23rd, is there any tours coming up that y'all can talk about right now?
Nothing, set in stone at this moment. We're kind of taking an approach that's a little different from what I've done in the past and what a lot of bands do. This is kind of like I don't know if I would say the second round, but like, as far as that's the easiest way to put it. And we're all a little bit older, we can't drop everything to go and just tour just to tour,
Right.
So we're taking time now pre-release of the album to try to build up a fan base. There's, we don't want to burn ourselves out. We don't want to be, we're a new band. There's no sense of us going on the road right now and playing for nobody. We haven't necessarily been offered any tours just yet. Not a lot of people know about us yet. So for the time being, we've kind of just been trying to introduce ourselves to the world and build a fan base via social media, which is another, new thing for us.
Right.
And just try to throw ourselves out there, put ourselves out there, and see, you know, what we can do, and who takes the bait, really.
Right.
So, not to get too far off track, but I think, our approach right now, like I said, is really just get ourselves out there, see if people like the music, try to build a fan base, and kind of just hope to gain some attention. And, like whether it be with other bands that want to take us on tour, or with labels, or producers, all that kind of thing. Those are the or booking agents. Those are the types of people that we kind of need to make as many connections as possible with in order to kind of set up the future of the band.
Right. And since you mentioned that you're not really, most of you are, none of you are new to touring, but for yourself personally, do you like touring, or is it something kind of like, okay, man, we're going out on the road again, and we got to support this album, kind of dreading it, or you actually like it?
Well, to be honest, it kind of depends. And it also kind of depends at what point in my life you're asking me this question. With A Life Once Lost, and in the past, I've been on, some tours that I would consider the greatest times of my life.
Yeah.
And I've also been on some tours where I consider them probably the worst times of my life.
Yeah.
So, and whether it be things that are going on in your life, completely separate from the band, or just the type of luck that you're having on the road, the type of tour you're on, so I will say, we've done A Life Once Lost did a lot of touring. I would call like grinding, just playing like shit shows all the time, just to be on the road.
Right.
And, which over time, all that hard work led us to getting on a lot of big tours like Ozfest. And, we had done some, the Jaeger music tour with Disturbed, and we did the Sounds of the Underground tour, and, toured with bands like Lamb of God and Dillinger, and, stuff like that. And I feel like we earned that because we were just forever on the road, touring with band after band after band, and even some tours that people would look at back then or even now and say like, oh my god, like that tour must have been amazing,
Yeah.
but in all reality it was four bands that were in the same position as us that maybe we were drawing 100 people between everybody,
Right.
So when you got four bands that are trying to make a name for themselves and you're drawing 100 people, that really doesn't get you very far. You'll be lucky if you get gas for the next show.
Right.
So there's some definite ups and downs to touring. It can be great and it can be very hard. Depending on the many different ways you can look at it. So, what I love for this band to land some great tours and, be successful by all means, 100%, I'm all for that. But are we going to get on the road and kind of just like hope that that people show up, that, or we make new fans? I mean, it's going to be hard to take that route,
Right. So aside from being in Vexes, is there anything else that you do on the side that people can check out? I know because a lot of other musicians kind of tend to be artistic and they have other side projects.
At the moment, I don't. Right now, my focus is on Vexes. It was a little bit of a challenge to find something as consistent as this, where everybody was on the same page musically, and the band was rounded out, where nothing was missing. No missing members, no missing bass player, no missing singer, anything like that. So to be honest, this is the first time since I left A Life Once Lost that I've been in a band that was pretty much complete and just felt like like it was the full package ready to go,
Right.
And as much as I'm always, willing and craving to do more musically, I'm definitely happy doing this at the moment, and who knows what other kind of opportunities it could open up, but for the time being, this is awesome. This is great. So
Good
I'm
deal.
happy.
All right. So our last question is: any last parting words for fans that what they can expect from Vexes this year?
Just we got a video that's going to come out right around the time of the record being released, and we've got some other ideas in the works as far as something a little extra, maybe to give the fans after the record comes out, and then we're always coming up with new ideas, so we're working on some new songs already. We don't want to make everybody wait too long until we put out new music after this record. So, we're just trying to be as prepared as possible, since we're not hitting the road pre-album release.
Yes.
We've had some time to not only just get everything together for this album, but just to keep those creative juices flowing. So as far as 2018 goes, it's kind of just like introduce Vexes to the world. 2017 they kind of got a preview, but 2018 is the year for us. I think it's the real introduction. The album's coming out, and I think it'll just lead to more opportunities, and I think it'll just let us be able to get out there and just keep showing everybody what we have to offer and what we're gonna put out musically. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we're gonna see everybody all over the place soon enough, and build a nice, healthy fan base. Once the music gets in front of everybody, I think we've been fortunate enough to get a solid foundation of a fan base going, and really get those first couple of thousand fans excited, because they're the first ones that have heard us,
Right.
And that's the type of fan base I feel like that is going to stick with you for a long time, because they were there from the beginning,
Yes.
So if anything, we're just looking to build off that in 2018 and beyond, and just get out there and get out in front of as many faces as we can, in as many ways as possible. So.
Well, sounds good to me. Justin, I appreciate the time that you took out of your day to talk with me. I wish
Totally.
you all the best, and I know for sure once people hear this album, they're going to be blown away from it. I've grown up listening to music, and there's, once you hear, I'm sure you can tell yourself when you hear an album, it's like, damn, that's some good shit that's coming out.
Hell yeah! I wish that something like the way you feel about our record, I wish something like that would drop in my lap as often as possible. I'm always craving, an album that is described the way that you just described ours. So that means a lot to hear that.
Oh, great, man. Well, you have a good day, and I appreciate it. Again, thanks to you, Justin.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.